Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my first Q&A for this week leading up to The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 7, Sing Me a Song. In this one, we're going to be talking about the future feel for The Walking Dead TV series.
What should we do with the ones who won't subscribe?
Bring them to me. And spoiler warning, if you guys have not seen episode 6 yet, swear. Already did the predictions video for episode 7, Sing Me a Song. It should be a great episode. Really excited for these last two in one of the weirdest half seasons of The Walking Dead we've ever had. So check out my review for episode 6. Check out the predictions for episode 7 if you haven't seen them yet. So in this one, to start off the Q&As for this week, I thought this was a good idea to kind of get started, which is the feel of The Walking Dead and kind of the future direction of the show and what we're probably looking at. So season 7, after the Negan premiere, after the Negan intro, has been totally different from any other season we've had so far. We now have 5 different locations compared to previous seasons where we would usually have 1, maybe 2, prison, Woodbury, and then you have characters that will go off on runs or things that will happen with certain members of the group. But in this one, we have now 5 total locations that we have seen in Season 7, actual, home bases for groups, actual camps for groups. So we have Alexandria, we have the Sanctuary, we have the Hilltop, we have the Kingdom, and now we just got to see the ocean side, which is probably one that we probably won't see much of it. Again, it'll probably kind of fade in the background, fade into obscurity a bit for a little while for The Walking Dead, maybe even seasons. We'll have to see what happens, but even still, I mean, it's just such a different feel from earlier on in the series where you have the group kind of all together, and in one episode you have the majority of your characters, you have the majority of your cast. In these episodes, we're getting to see what we're calling bottle episodes, I suppose, where we get to see, only one character or a couple of characters in one location for the entirety of the episode. The episodes that we're talking about with that are The Well, Episode 2, Episode 3, The Cell. Episode 4, Service, also kind of qualifies for that because it's a bottle episode for Alexandria, but it does include most of the Saviors coming to Alexandria, so it doesn't quite feel like it, but it is. And then we have Episode 6, Swear, which is also a sort of bottle episode, I guess you could look at it as. So that's 4 from the first half. So literally it's like 4 episodes we're seeing where they're focusing on just one location. Now, in the future for The Walking Dead, we're going to be getting to see all these different locations and different things happening in between them. It looks like for some of the survivors, they're being set up kind of more long-term to live at those locations. It looks like Maggie is probably going to kind of live at the Hilltop, and if you've read the Walking Dead comic book series as well, you can have even more indication for that. It looks like Carol and Morgan might actually be staying at the Kingdom for a while. Like, we haven't seen them since episode 2, The Well, but it looks like for them two, they might actually kind of live there. Like, Morgan might just live there permanently, which would be kind of weird because I always thought that after they kind of healed up and Carol was okay, that they were going to go back to Alexandria. But it looks like right now they are in no hurry to do so. Now with episode 6, we even have Tara, who sort of has some kind of a connection with some of the characters from our new community, the Oceanside. So it's just a really different feel for the show, and for the future, I think this is kind of more what we're looking at. Now, hopefully, we get to see seasons and halves that have a little bit more going on than this and maybe don't have quite so many bottle episodes. But certainly this season has quite a bit different feel than the previous seasons, and it's if you look at the Walking Dead comic book series and where it's at right now and where it's been from this part onward, it does have a larger world feel. It does have more different things happening in the communities. But with the comics, for some reason, it doesn't feel so bottled up. Because in an issue of the comics or in a trade, in a volume, when Kirkman's writing it and when you read it, it's cut between all the different groups. You don't get these single releases a lot of times where it's only focused on one location and kind of the whole issue or the whole episode goes through just one spot for the most of it. It certainly does work to space out the seasons, though. That's for sure. I mean, if you look at this season and how much we're going to cover from the beginning of it till here, it's not nearly as much, I want to say, as a lot of halves. there's a lot of things happening. A lot of groups have been introduced in that, but they just haven't covered that much, or at least the momentum doesn't feel to me like it's really flying. And I think a lot of that is because of kind of the bottle episodes. So the question that inspired this start was from RiotnRespect, who says, Trev, man, when are they going to stop doing these bottle episodes? I didn't think this episode was bad, but they tend to get boring, and it feels like a waste of a week of The Walking Dead. There are other ways to introduce groups and new characters. So that was from him, and a lot of people saying kind of something similar about this episode and about kind of the style of The Walking Dead and kind of how it feels when you have all these different positions, all these different points of view and different characters in different spots. It works for Game of Thrones. When you watch Game of Thrones, you have a lot of different groups of characters, a lot of different things happening in different spots. It works for them really well, but I notice with Game of Thrones, a lot of times they only tend to focus on one location in one episode if they really have something special going on there. Most of the time, they're cutting up the different spots. They're showing us different things in different locations, and it doesn't. It feels kind of more fluid. It feels kind of more like more things are happening versus an episode like this with episode 6 that focuses only on Tara and Heath. And aside from Tara and her story arc and what's happening with her, everything else feels stagnant, which is really, really weird. So I'm thinking that maybe in the future, hopefully they'll kind of reduce that kind of focus a little bit, because I do feel like it kind of takes away from the momentum and it kind of slows things down. And I can't ignore all the comments I'm seeing today and last night after episode 6 again, because it being another bottle type episode. Even though it makes for a good episode by itself, I think, it does take away from the momentum and kind of the concentration of the season, where it's like it feels like we're not really getting one story through, because at the end of episode 5 we had Carl and Jesus in the back of the truck, and now we get to see this whole sequence with Tara in a different position, and it just really shifts the momentum. And it's like, okay, we saw all this week, so Tara's back there now, and we get all of that, and we get the stuff from the ocean side. But now when you have the kind of the resuming from episode 5, it kind of feels clunky. Like, it feels like, okay, now it's been 2 weeks since we saw where Jesus and Carl were, and then what happens after that. So I do think this is kind of the future of the show, unfortunately, with the bottle episodes and kind of the way they're doing it. I do hope that they kind of decide at some point, like maybe it will feel more smoother if we start to kind of, range these out, and we don't have episodes totally concentrated in one location, and we kind of spread them out a little bit more. But it could also be because each episode is a 42-minute runtime, and as a result, if they don't kind of concentrate, they would show us a lot of different things from different spots happening, and it would just feel like messy. Like, it wouldn't feel, like it all fits. And maybe that's because there's certain things that maybe they shouldn't have there anyway. Maybe there's certain things that they should cut out that we don't necessarily need to see. Maybe that's the problem. Either way, it certainly spaces out the seasons, and it certainly gives us some different vantage points and some different spots to see. And I do think that is the future of the show. I think that we're going to see more of this kind of thing in the future for Walking Dead, unfortunately. That said, there still should be some really great episodes that we get to see too. You have more things happening. You have more of a build-up. So if we do get to see kind of all-out war, it will feel more like a war, because you have all these different locations and all this different stuff going on. For when it all kind of comes to a climax, it'll be a bigger sort of climax than just one group versus one group. You'll have, a more kind of a world point of view type of feel for it. So a great question from Riot. Ren said, I was absolutely bored out of my mind. I'm usually a big fan of Walking Dead, but this episode, and frankly last, really let me down. I didn't care about any of the characters in the episode. I used to like Tara, but her writing has become so cheesy. So I think maybe with Ren, he's just like not used to seeing Tara at the forefront. And a lot of people really like to see Rick and, him being kind of our central core character. With the future of The Walking Dead, though, it sounds like they're going to kind of throttle back on that a little bit. There's a few episodes here that barely feature Rick. I mean, The Well, The Cell, and then even, like Service, of course, did, but Go-Getters and Swear. So that's 4 episodes so far where he's hardly in them, hardly at all. Some he's not in it at all. So yeah, absolutely. So I mean, it's just kind of the style, the way the story is going, and it creating a bigger palette for us to see them kind of create their art with and have the story all come together and everything. But maybe there's something to the bottle thing, and maybe it taking away from the experience and losing the momentum a bit. So hopefully they can find a way to mix it better. But I do think this is kind of the future of what we're looking at for Walking Dead. Fortunately, if you like it, and unfortunately, if you don't. Lord Stevis and Vitamin D says, it's getting to the point where I'm looking forward to your reviews, Trev, more than actually watching the episode. So thanks, both you guys, Lord Stevis and Vitamin D. I hope you guys like the videos. And I try to be a good companion piece to The Walking Dead, and I try to kind of make it fun and everything. And I think we have a lot of fun. I probably have more fun talking about it with you guys and just, enjoying it with you guys than sometimes watching the episodes themselves may be, depending on the episode. So, yeah, absolutely. And everything else, too, the comics and everything. It's a lot of fun overall. And Anthony Tenorio says, do you guys think it was pretty weird that they had the solo lesbian encounter, a group of only women? I've seen many late-night Skinamax movies with a similar plot. Nice, man. Dwight Case Schrute said, this episode was good, but the next two are going to be amazing. And I think we'll kind of wrap there. Yeah, you're right. The next two should be amazing. And, it's kind of the way this half has been going. Not too much more to say about it than that, but I do think this is kind of the future of what we're looking at for the series with this type of storytelling. So, yeah. I'll do just one more. Chris Shelton says, Q&A, Trev, is Heath gone? Is he the new Morales? LOL. I wouldn't be surprised if Heath just left. If he's like, screw everything, I'm out of here, and just left, because the place he was in terms of his mind at the end of that sequence with Tara, I would not be surprised if he did. Now, there was the thing that he left her or whatever, kind of was down there, and it seemed like from the track tire prints in the grass that he had driven off, of course, with the RV missing and everything. So, is he back at Alexandria? Maybe we just didn't see him. That could be the case, but I wouldn't be surprised either if he kind of ran off for a while and tried to kind of find himself. So we'll see what happens with Heath, and he's still a fairly new character, and he needs more time, I think, for us to really care for him. I felt like in this episode we got a couple scenes that made us care a little bit more for Heath, but not enough to make him like a B character right now, I wouldn't say. So, so write in the comments below, guys, what do you think we're going to see for the future of The Walking Dead in terms of style and kind of the way they're telling the story? That's what I think, and I think that this is kind of how it's going to be, at least now for a little while, and maybe in the future kind of going forward. So hopefully they can find a way to mix it better, and maybe we won't get such higher highs and lower lows. We'll kind of get somewhere mixed in the middle a little bit more, better mixing. So we'll see. That'll be it for this video today, guys. If you liked it, please don't forget to thumb it up below. You can also share, you can favorite, and if you're new, you want to subscribe, you can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again tomorrow for another Q&A. It's Trev, same peace. Later, guys. See ya. You can share, you can favorite, you can subscribe. Hell, you're all going to be doing that.